Change of generations is a most natural process in any area of life, and football is no exception. Old stars hang up their boots to be replaced with fresh blood, and it's up to scouts and managers to bring that fresh blood to the club. That is why today we would like to tell you about the most promising young players of our days. But before we get into it, we would like you to answer our question. Which one of them was the youngest when he scored his first Champions League goal? Wayne Rooney, Karim Benzema, Mohamed Salah, Luis Suarez? Please leave your answers in the comments and get ready for watching. Here we go. Youssoufa Moukoko, 19 years old, Borussia Dortmund. The BVB striker Moukoko has been considered a top prospect for quite some time already, since he dominated the German youth football and became the youngest ever Bundesliga player at the age of 16. A bit later, Moukoko made his international debut for Germany, which made him the youngest ever Bundesteam player in 68 years. Youssoufa had a more than decent start last season with 6 goals and 4 assists in first 15 Bundesliga games and was included in Germany's World Cup squad, though only played 1 minute in a group stage game versus Japan. At that moment, Moukoko only had a couple of months left on his contract with Borussia, with Chelsea and Barcelona negotiating on signing him as a free agent. In the end, however, Youssoufa decided to stay at Borussia as he considered it to be the best thing for his career. So far, it's been quite a poor choice, as all the hype around Moukoko seems to have faded. He lost his place in the first 11 last season and is yet to recapture his best form. As for now, Youssoufa has only played 143 minutes in the Bundesliga, which is now what's expected of a talent of his caliber. On the other hand, Moukoko is only 19 and has both time and quality to bring back his former self and evolve into a true world-class player. Rico Lewis, 19 years old, Manchester City. The City Academy product finally made it into the first team last season and managed to become quite an important part of Guardiola's system due to his hard work and versatility. In November 2022, Lewis already set a unique record. He became the youngest ever player to score on his Champions League first team debut at the age of 17 years and 346 days, thus breaking the previous record held by Karim Benzema. That season was a massive success for City, as the team won the Champions League, the Premier League and the FA Cup, and Rico was rewarded with a new contract until summer 2028. The fact that Guardiola allowed Cancelo to go on loan at Bayern tells us a lot about his in Rico Lewis, who has already made a name for himself as a most versatile player, able to play both right and left fullback, as a winger and in midfield as well. Harvey Elliott, 20 years old, Liverpool. The youngest Englishman has been on the big club's radar since his Fulham days, as at that time he was already considered one of the most promising midfielders of his generation. Liverpool was the club to sign him eventually. In July 2019, Harvey joined the Scousers to spend a season in the youth team and then get loaned out to the Championship side Blackburn Rovers, where he scored 7 goals and made 11 assists in 41 matches. That was enough for Jurgen Klopp to offer him a chance in the first team. In the 21-22 season, Elliott became the youngest ever Liverpool player to start a Champions League game in a knockout stage match against Inter Milan. Harvey Elliott is yet to unleash his full potential, but the amount of playing time he's getting tells us that he's on the right track and that Jurgen Klopp definitely has a plan on how to make a new Premier League star out of the youngster. João Neves, 19 years old, Antonio Silva, 20 years old, Benfica. Along with other Portuguese clubs, Benfica is known for raising football stars and selling them to big clubs for big money. Now there are 2 top prospects at Benfica, both academy products. So let's begin with the midfielder João Neves, who broke into the first 11 at the end of the 22-23 season and is determined to build on that this season. Neves has an elite first pass and is able to dictate the tempo, which makes him a perfect modern holding midfielder, which is why there are clubs ready to spend more than 100 million euros on him, the likes of Man United, Man City and Barcelona. In addition to his Benfica performance, Neves has already made 2 appearances for Portugal, which is also quite impressive for a player of his age. Another Benfica rising star worth mentioning is the centre-back Antonio Silva. Last year, when he had just turned 19, he became a part of the Portugal's World Cup squad and played 90 minutes in a group stage match against South Korea. After the World Cup was over, Antonio got even more trust from the new head coach Roberto Martinez and now has 7 international appearances and 1 assist under his belt. It was mostly his performances for Benfica that made the Portuguese coaching staff pay attention to the youngster. Antonio is a solid all-around defender with a decent first pass, so the likes of Manchester United and Real Madrid are already following the Portuguese. It is now rumored that Los Blancos are ready to spend from 50 to 60 million on his signing. Benjamin Šeško, 20 years old, RB Leipzig. The Slovenian striker's name first became known to the wide audience in summer 2022 as he was named among Man United's possible signings. At that time, Benjamin was playing for RB Salzburg and had just returned from his loan at Liefering, where he scored 21 goals in 29 Austrian Second League matches. The Red Devils eventually dropped the idea of signing the striker as they were not ready to spend 60 million euros on such a young player, and the pressure would have been too much for him to handle. In the end, however, Šeško was still signed by a big club that summer, as he moved up the Red Bull ladder and joined RB Leipzig. Due to the terms of the deal, Benjamin still had to play 1 more season at Salzburg, so he had to wait until summer 2023 to finally move to Germany. In his second Bundesliga game, Šeško only needed 15 minutes to score a brace against Union Berlin off the bench. A few weeks later, Benjamin scored again against Köln and now had 3 goals in 9 Bundesliga games in addition to his goal against Young Boys in the Champions League. The Slovenian is yet to establish himself as a first-choice striker for Leipzig, but he has already become a useful option for his side, one to make an impact off the bench. As a result, there are as many as 4 big clubs keeping an eye on him: Chelsea, Arsenal, Real Madrid and AC Milan. Alejandro Garnacho, 19 years old, Manchester United. The Argentine made his United debut back in the 21-22 season under Ralf Rangnick. The Austrian manager soon left the club, and Alejandro did well to impress the new coach Erik ten Hag, who was giving him way more playing time whenever Garnacho wasn't injured. As for Alejandro's last season's stats, there were 3 goals and 2 assists in the Premier League, and 3 more goals and assists in other competitions. Garnacho's performances for United, along with his improvement, was enough to impress the Argentina head coach Scaloni, so now the youngster can boast with 3 international caps. As for this season, the Argentine has already played more minutes in the Premier League than he was given last season, which is a good indicator of his progress and Ten Hag's trust. And Garnacho's goal against Everton, the one nominated for the Puskás Award, is supposed to be his first step in repaying that trust, providing he keeps working hard to improve. Evan Ferguson, 19 years old, Brighton. The Seagulls' promising squad is more than worth keeping an eye on. Brighton made it into the Europa League last season, and now the likes of Evan Ferguson have a chance to prove their quality in Europe. The Irishman, already noticed by a bunch of big clubs, was one of the biggest discoveries of the 22-23 season, as he managed to score 3 goals and make 2 assists in 4 Premier League games from December 31 to January 21. Though his further performance was a bit less impressive, Evans still managed to win De Zerbi's trust with his skills both on and off the ball. The Irishman's 6 goals and 2 assists in the league last season was something to build on. This season he has already matched his goal tally despite having played 4 games less. It's going to be fascinating to watch Ferguson's career unfold, as it is rumored he has already drawn interest from such clubs as Bayern and Manchester United. Romeo Lavia, 19 years old, Levi Colwill, 20 years old, Malo Gusto, 20 years old, Kendrick Páez, 16 years old, Chelsea. Since the new board took over, the Blues have spent more than €500 million on new signings, including some very promising young players. One of them is the midfielder Romeo Lavia. The Man City Academy product signed for €62,100,000. The Belgian only needed one season at Southampton to get noticed by a top club, even though his team had to go down. Soon after he joined the new club, however, Romeo suffered a recurrent injury, so he's yet to make his first appearance for the Blues. His work rate, game understanding, and the ability to carry and pass the ball were the qualities that caught Chelsea scouts' attention. It looks pretty promising on paper, so let's see if this transfer deal is going to pay off. Another Chelsea talent is Levi Colwill, who spent the 22-23 season on loan at Brighton. This summer, the Chelsea board granted the player a place in the first squad and thus persuaded him to sign a new contract. Colwill has all the qualities of a world-class centre-back. He's tall, strong, agile and a good passer, which is why he was among Liverpool's transfer priorities. Anyway, the defender's decision to stay at Chelsea seems to be the right one so far. He's been given plenty of playing time and managed to put on a decent performance, both as a centre-back and on the left in a hybrid formation. Levy has also made one assist so far this season, the one that led to Mykhailo Mudrik's debut goal. This January, the Lyon right-back Malo Gusto was signed by Chelsea, though spent the rest of the season at his old club. In summer, he finally moved to Stamford Bridge and was given a first 11 chance due to Reece James's injury. Gusto made 2 assists in his 5 Premier League games, but then got a red card in a match against Aston Villa and was given a 3-match ban. Since then, the Frenchman has only started 1 game as he lost his place in the first 11 to Reece James. However, Gusto still managed to make a good impression of himself with his pace and defensive performance, especially in one-on-one situations. Now to the youngest of Chelsea's prospects, set to join the club in 2025. The 16-year-old Ecuadorian Kendry Páez from Independiente del Valle was a transfer target for many clubs, including Barcelona and Real Madrid, but ultimately it was Chelsea to sign the promising winger. As for this day, Páez has already become the youngest ever player and goalscorer for Ecuador, as well as the youngest ever South American player to take part in a World Cup qualifier. The youngster's biggest strengths are his elite pace and dribbling, which make him such a unique and quality player for his age. Lamine Yamal, 16 years old, and Vitor Roque, 16 years old, Barcelona. Meet the reason why Barca didn't need a replacement for Ousmane Dembélé, Lamine Yamal, who managed to impress Xavi with his work on the training ground. Last season, the youngster only had 7 minutes of playing time in La Liga and no one saw him becoming a first-team player this soon. But that's exactly what happened, as Yamal's pace and creativity have won him a place in the first 11. The youngster's stats this season are 1 goal and 3 assists in 15 league games, and his performance hasn't gone unnoticed. Lamine Yamal, now the youngest ever player to start a game in La Liga, received a call-up from Luis de la Fuente, the Spain head coach, and took part in Euro qualifiers as he scored 2 goals in 4 games against Georgia and Cyprus. So not only Yamal is a most promising youngster, but also a useful option for both his club and national team at the age of 16. Another Barca protege, Vitor Roque, was signed from Atlético Paranaense this summer. The striker, known for his explosive pace and finishing, was initially supposed to join Barcelona in summer 2024, but the club is currently looking for loopholes that may let him move to Nou Camp in January. Roque has already made his debut for Brazil in March and is now up to join the Blaugrana, the club he chose ahead of other contenders. In Atlético Paranaense, Vitor has scored 28 goals and made 11 assists in 81 games so far. Soon, we're going to see him take on a real challenge in a top 5 European league. Warren Zaïre-Emery, 17 years old, and Xavi Simons, 20 years old, PSG. In addition to their stars galore, the Parisians can boast with 2 extremely promising young midfielders in their squad. Let's begin with Warren Zaïre-Emery, the youngest ever player for PSG and the youngest footballer to ever start a Champions League knockout stage match. That happened in the round of 16 game against Bayern. Zaïre-Emery looks extremely mature for his age. That was mentioned by Christophe Galtier and Luis Enrique, his head coaches at PSG, and the France head coach Didier Deschamps. Not so long ago, Warren got his first international call-up and managed to score in his debut game against Gibraltar, which made him the youngest ever goalscorer for France. Unfortunately, the cost of his record was his injury, which will now make him miss the rest of the calendar year. However, after such a promising start, the midfielder must be determined to come back stronger, and that's what PSG are waiting for. Warren has already established himself as a first-choice midfielder for PSG with 2 goals and 2 assists in 11 league games, which is a more than a solid result for such a young player at such a big club. Another PSG's long-term investment is the attacking midfielder Xavi Simons, a Barca academy product. The Dutchman saw no option for himself at PSG in summer 2022, so he moved to PSV Eindhoven, but the PSG board were smart enough to add a buyback clause to the terms of the deal. The 22-23 was a real breakthrough for Simons, as he scored 22 goals and made 12 assists in all competitions, which left PSG no option but to activate the buyback clause. The midfielder is currently playing on loan at RB Leipzig, and his loan spell is going great so far. 4 goals and 8 assists in the Bundesliga, 2 goals and 2 assists in the Champions League. However, we still can't tell much about Simons' future at PSG once he returns from loan, as the Parisian squad is too packed with world-class attackers. Mathys Tel, 18 years old, Bayern. In summer 2022, Bayern got themselves one of the most promising attackers in France as they signed Mathys Tel from Rennes. The striker was only 17 years old at that time and was ready to settle for little to no playing time. However, he was eventually given a chance in the first team and used it well. Mathys scored 5 Bundesliga goals in the first season for Bayern and helped his side win the league. Both Julian Nagelsmann and Thomas Tuchel were always ready to offer the youngster a chance, as his talent has always been out of question. This season, Mathys seems to have even more trust. He has already made 18 appearances, though mostly off the bench, scored 6 goals and made 3 assists in all competitions, among them that goal against Manchester United in the Champions League. While Bayern were initially planning on loaning the Frenchman out for the sake of his development, Mathys was firm in his desire to stay at Allianz Arena, as he believes it to be the best option for him. Arda Güler, 18 years old, and Endrick, 17 years old, Real Madrid. This summer, there was a heated race between Real Madrid and Barcelona, the race for one of the most talented young midfielders of his generation, the new Mesut Ozil, Arda Güler from Fenerbahce. Los Blancos willingly paid the Turkish side 20 million euros for the youngster, who had scored 8 goals and made 12 assists in 51 matches for the club and had 1 goal in 4 international caps for Turkey. As claimed by the Spanish media, the Real Madrid players and coaches were shocked with their newcomer's quality when they saw him on the training ground, though they agreed on his lack of muscle. Arda Güler's progress, however, has been hampered by injuries so far and is yet to make his debut for Real Madrid. Arda is expected to be back before the new year, so we might see him in action in the near future, provided he doesn't get injured again. His vision and creativity make him a most exciting prospect, and it goes without saying that Real Madrid fans would rather have him playing. As for another Real Madrid newcomer, Endrick, Los Blancos will have to wait until summer 2024 to bring him to Santiago Bernabeu. A number of big clubs were interested in the Brazilian. Rumors say he was offered a trial by Chelsea, Bayern, Manchester United, and many other clubs. In the end, it was Real Madrid to wrap up the deal, as they paid Palmeiras 37.5 million euros. Due to the FIFA rules, the Brazilian can't move to Europe until he turns 18, which is why he's yet to put on the Real Madrid shirt. The pacey striker may have some modest-looking stats, 17 goals and 2 assists in 60 performances for Palmeiras, but scouts nonetheless see him as a future star. Endrick has recently made his international debut, as he now has 2 caps for Brazil. When asked about his choice of club, Endrick mentioned Real Madrid being his favorite club and Cristiano Ronaldo being his idol. Coming close to Ronaldo's legacy is never going to be an easy task, but let's see what Endrick has to offer. There are many factors that determine a young player's development. It is crucial that he has a proper coach who trusts him and knows how to utilize the player's qualities and integrate him to the system. Apart from that, a rising star has to be determined, level-headed, and adaptable in order to evolve into an elite player. Dear friends, which one of our today's heroes do you consider the most promising? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments, and don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to our channel if you enjoy our videos. Thank you for watching and see you soon.